Hey everyone, it's Miss Brooks with your Daily Dose of Math. Today we're going to discuss Section 3 of Chapter 7, Multiplying Special Cases. So in this section, we are going to focus on binomials that we have to square or binomials that we are multiplying the positive and negative of each other together. So the first problem we're going to take a look at are squaring binomials. So if we look at problem 1, number 1, we want to simplify the product x plus 8 quantity squared. Now in order to square binomials, the first thing we need to do is remember what squaring something means. Squaring something means to multiply something by itself. So when I'm squaring a binomial, the first thing I want to do is write down that binomial by itself. X plus 8 times x plus 8. Once I've written down the binomial times itself, I'm then going to use the distributive property to distribute everything from the first binomial to the second binomial, just like we did in section 2. So I'm going to take x from the first binomial and multiply it with x and 8 in the second binomial. That's going to give me x squared, because x times x, plus 8x. Once I've distributed the x, I then want to go back and distribute the 8 with the x and 8. 8 times x would give me 8x again, and 8 times 8 would give me 64. Once I've distributed everything, I'm going to combine those like terms I get in the middle of x's to get a final answer of x squared plus 8 would make 16x plus 64. So the first thing we just have to remember, when we see something squared, we are going to need to write out the binomial 2 times before we begin to multiply. So let's take a look at letter B. We want to simplify 2m minus 3 quantity squared. So again, when something's squared, it means that something's being multiplied by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is write out 2m minus 3 times itself. So I see I have 2 binomials here, and then I want to distribute the 2m from the first binomial to everything in the second binomial, and then I'll distribute the negative 3. So 2m times 2m would make 4m squared. 2m times negative 3 would make negative 6m. Distribute the negative 3 next. Negative 3 times 2m would be negative 6m. Negative 3 and negative 3 would be positive 9. Once I've distributed everything, I'm going to combine my like terms I now have in the middle, the negative 6m's, to get a final answer of 4m squared minus 6m and 6m would make 12m plus 9. So multiplying binomials that are squared, write it out first and then do your multiplication. So you try letter C, n minus 7 squared. If you multiplied C correctly, you should get n squared minus 14n plus 49. Go ahead and also try letter D. If you did D correctly, you should have gotten 4x squared plus 36x plus 81. The next type of problem we want to take a look at in this section is multiplying a positive and a negative of the same binomial together. So let's take a look at problem 2, number 1. We want to find a simpler version of x cubed plus 8 times x cubed minus 8. In other words, we want to multiply these together. Since in between our binomials there is no operation. That means the parentheses tell us what to do, which is multiply. So what I'm going to do is first distribute everything from the first binomial to the second binomial. So x cubed times x cubed would be x to the 6th. X cubed times negative 8 would be negative 8x cubed. Once I distribute the x cubed, I'm now going to distribute the 8 to get positive 8x cubed minus 64. Combine my like terms. In the middle, I got some x cubes I can add together. Negative 8 and positive 8 would cancel out. So all I would be left with in this problem is x to the 6th minus 64 as my final answer. Looking at our next problem, we want to multiply x plus 9 times x minus 9. So in order to multiply x plus 9 and x minus 9, I'm going to take everything from the first binomial and multiply with everything in the second binomial. So x times x would give me x squared. X times negative 9 would give me negative 9x. And then multiply 9 with everything. 9 and x would make positive 9x. 9 and negative 9 would make negative 81. Combine my like terms in the middle. I have negative 9x with positive 9x. That's going to cancel. So I'm left with x squared minus 81 as my final answer. So you go ahead, you try B and C, and then I will write the answers on here so you can check and make sure you got the correct answer. If you multiplied B correctly, you should have gotten a final answer of 36 minus m to the 4th power. If you multiplied C correctly, you should have gotten 9c squared minus 16 as your final answer. This concludes our lesson on being able to multiply our special cases of binomials. If you have any questions, please ask Miss Brooks. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time on your Daily Dose of Math with Miss Brooks.